Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Chelyabinsk Zinc Plant FY 2008 IFRS Financial Results Conference Call hosted by Mr. Sergey Moiseyev. My name is Alza, and I'm your event manager. During the presentation, your lines will remain on listen only. To view the live meeting presentation in full screen mode, please press F5 on your keyboard and F5 once again to return to normal view. If you require assistance at any time, please press star 0 on your telephone, and the coordinator will be happy to assist you. And now, I would like to hand over to Sergey. Sergey, please go ahead.
Good day and good morning in New York, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to our 2008 earnings conference call. I'm Sergey Moiseyev. I'm the chairman of Chelyabinsk Zinc. With me today, we have Mr. Boris Berman, our CFO, and customary Mr. Berislav Galovich, our commercial director. Earlier today, we issued a press release detailing the financial results for last year. I would like to thank all of you for joining this call and for sending us questions. Am I still online?
Yes, you are.
And sending us questions on the published results. We will do our best to provide you with detailed information on our performance and industry environment. Next slide, please. Before we proceed, please note that various remarks we make about the future expectations, plans, and prospects of the company constitute forward-looking statements. In accordance with international accounting standards, all forward-looking statements involve known and unknown risks, uncertainties, and other factors that may cause the actual results to differ materially. Next slide, please. 2008 was an unprecedented year. We had losses in both zinc and lead markets. The industry has seen miners' closures, output cuts, as energy, labor, equipment costs have risen. And at the same time, the zinc prices went down dramatically. For the first quarter of 2009, the mantra of many lead and zinc miners is still survival. In order to minimize negative market environment that affected our operating and financial performance, we have adjusted our output by keeping minimal technological production level and implemented cost-cutting measures. Mr. Galovich will now give you more details on what's going on in the world and in the Russian market specifically, and then we will review the company's operational results. At the end, Mr. Berman will follow in with the comments on CZP financials, and then we'll be happy to answer your questions. I'll now turn over to Mr. Berislav Galovich. Please, Berislav.
Thank you. Good day and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Traditionally, we will start from the slide number 4. That represents zinc price and stock levels on LME since January 04 to March 09. All of you are acquainted with this, but I would like to underline, having in mind what happened last year, that if you look at the chart in July 05, finally mid 2005, finally the price is moving up due to all what was happening on the market, high consumption, and so on. Price reached 4,500 and more, which was a little bit unusual, but that was on the hike of the high demand. And even the February 07 or end of the 2006, when the price started going down, nobody thought that anything like this, what happened in the last quarter, last year, would happen. Even the crisis, financial crisis in August 2007 didn't warn anybody, and everybody was riding on a high tide, not expecting that the zinc price will go down below, let's say, 2003 or 400, which was expected price. But finally, end of the September 08 brought the reality to all of us, and then price went down even below the costs. If you move to slide number 5, this what I was saying was just reconfirmed in some way. The zinc consumption was going up because the demand was going up. There was a lot of car sales all around the world. Huge figures were hit in Russia at the last year and 2007. And everybody was expecting that this situation will continue at least for another year or two, with a little correction later on. Zinc metal balance is just confirming this, and we all knew that 2007 will have a slight increase of the production compared with the consumption, but it didn't worry anybody because the stocks which we used to have and we should have on the LME market and with the producers were just about on zero in 2006. The increase of the zinc offer to the market in 2008 was not expected on this level, and this is more due to the crisis that happened in the fourth quarter. It was supposed to go a little bit over 2007. If we move to slide number 6 and look at the refined production, the zinc refined production, we can see it just followed the demand. It was going just at the same level as the demand. And the production was also picking up. The investment which were made 2-3 years before that on improvement of the production of the mines that were kept on hold, and the new mines also showed, just following this trend of the high prices and good profits. Slide number 7 is showing what happened on the lead market. Lead was for a long time metal which was not favored by anybody. Nobody thought that it has a future. There was talks that just about all of the lead mines and smelters would close down because there are substitutes for lead. But finally, somewhere in 2007, it was realized that nothing can substitute lead when the price and efficiency is compared to other metals and other batteries, especially battery-produced products that showed very expensive and unreliable. So lead started shooting up. Price went also to unseen above $4,000. But very soon it started following the trend of the all other metals and went down to levels which are today considered still okay, but not what we would like to see. Lead metal balance is showing the same pattern as in zinc. It was going up when the consumption is in question, and the balance is showing also a slight increase. That was normal because we were lacking lead metal at the time when it started to increase when we started increasing production. Refined production is just repeating the same pattern. But if you look at the annual lead mine production, you can see that you have a 50% of the lead produced as a concentrate. That's understandable because 50% of the lead metal is produced from the secondary sources. If you move to a zinc, CSI zinc market, and the slide number 11, in 2008, if you look at the map, nothing significantly changed. All the players are there, and the crisis still didn't reach the management of many of these presented here at the map. But in 2009 already we have changes which we can discuss later on. Like Balkhash is not producing metal anymore. So we go to slide number 12, which shows production of concentrate in CIS countries. And the table is giving us figures which we at the zinc plants were expecting at the beginning of 2008. Maybe Shalkia was a little bit down from what we expected, but it's taking in mind that they are not producing too much and that the crisis hit them first and they have a high cost of production. Of course, they reacted first. All the others performed as we expected. Even the Russian copper company which gave only 12,000, we knew that it wouldn't go high up because the new developments which they announced were moved to 209. Rural mining and metallurgy company performed well, and they will be even better this year. Slide number 13, zinc metal production in CIS gives the figures which were expected, except for Chelyabinsk zinc plant. We planned to have more here, at least 10,000 tons more. All the others were on the level that were expected. We produced less because we started putting on break our production, especially in the last 2 months of the last year. Russian zinc market overview on the slide number 14 is showing zinc metal production and consumption. Too much comments are not needed here, maybe only 208 where the consumption is shown. Actual figures which were expected here even in September, that consumption in Russia would be close to 190,000 tons, even more. But it didn't happen. The zinc market structure stayed as it is, despite the fact that last 2 months, 3 months actually, but those 2 months were severe. The consumption was cut down, but was cut down evenly through all producers. The slide number 15, where refined zinc consumption is shown. Well, the left-hand side is just showing what I already said, that last quarter was very damaging to Russian industry and also to us, because our consumers went into they cut down the production, they went into their stocks, and they decreased the demand that and the orders that they had with us. And the right-hand side of the slide is just showing this. I think Russia all over lost about 24 to 25,000 tons, which were accepted on top of what happened in 2009 overall. On the slide number 16, when the refined zinc market structure is shown, it just gives you that production of the zinc is higher than the consumption, that we are exporting it. We are exporter, Electro-Zinc is exporter, and some quantity is imported. It's mainly from Kazakhstan and from Uzbekistan. And from time to time, our Federal Reserves are putting some old metal on the market. This is this 5,000 tons shown on the slide. On the right-hand side, we have zinc concentrate market structure. It's obvious that Russia will still continue to import concentrate. On this 71,000 tons of import, we have Akjal, that's our actually mine in Kazakhstan, which is included here, plus what we get from the west through the Euromin company. 19,000 export is actually Far East producer, Dal Polymetal, which is too far away to be considered as a supplier for us or to anybody else, because transport costs rise dramatically lately, mainly due to the fall of the zinc price. If we go to slide number 18 and talk about performance of Chelyabinsk zinc plant on the commercial side, we can see on the slide 18 the production of our Akjal mine in Kazakhstan. Through 3 years presented here show that we are the ore mined is increasing, the ore produced is increasing. Unfortunately, we had some degradation of the percentage of the zinc and lead, such as zinc content and lead content in the ore. That's why the figures are a little bit declined in 2007, but we managed, the management of the Akjal managed to increase it in 2008. When the Chelyabinsk zinc plant is considered as a producer of the metal, shown on slide number 19, we had a traditional suppliers of the concentrate, and we were very well supplied with it. You can see that beside Akjal, which I already said is our mine, UMNC was supplying us well. They went even over the expected level. That compensated actually the low figures presented by Russian Copper Company. Import was increased because we increased production. The secondaries were a little bit decreased due to the at the end of the year we had a high cost on the secondaries because the sellers of the secondary didn't want to react on the world crisis, which hit everybody and demand to decline prices. On the slide number 20, you can see zinc and byproducts produced by Chelyabinsk zinc plant. So the interesting thing is that you can see that during 3 years we were increasing production, and we were expecting to have this instead of 166,000 tons to be just over 170,000 tons. But later on you'll see why we stick to the 166,000 tons of zinc. Indium has been increased because the content of the indium in the concentrate that we purchased was high, and since it's a byproduct, it just continues to be produced. Although the indium market is not very good at the moment, but we expect better once the solar power policy is introduced in the world. Cadmium, although price went down, is still finding its customers, especially in Far East. And sulfuric acid is a byproduct which we had a slight problems at the end of the last year to distribute, but at the moment everything is fine, and we are positive again on sales side for profit. When the zinc sales are in question, domestic market was increasing, and we actually expected to have 2008 as a record year when the domestic market is when the quantity of the domestic market is in question. We were supposed to have much more than previous year. We were going close to 55 of the Russian market and even more. But prices did their work. If you look at the percentages and our customers, the traditional customers, big ones in Russia, Magnitogorsk, Novolytik, Severstal, they continue to purchase from us, and percentage figures are just a little bit below because they cut the demand and the consumption in the last 2 months of the 2008. Others, that's the important figure, increased to 16%. And that means all the small ones, medium-sized ones, which are paying much better than the export and than the big ones. We put a lot of effort to increase the sales to the so-called others. If you move to the slide number 22, quarterly production and sales, this is actually a slide that shows how the things happened. And if production and sale was going well, we did not produce and sell as we wanted in the last quarter. We wanted a little bit more, but that did not. That's because of the crisis, of course. That doesn't need any comment. Domestic market, that's figure 30 in this light gray part of the graph on the right side shows how severely the domestic market curved down due to the crisis. If you move to slide number 23, core customers are again presented, and Q4 changes show the drop was going, that the sales were going down, but overall it was close to what we predicted in our budget, but we actually expected much more due to the very strong development on the Russian market for the first 9 months. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That will be all for now. I'll be here to answer your questions later on. And here is Mr. Boris Birman, our financial director.
Thank you, Berislav. Good morning or good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and let's look at the slide number 25. Our revenue went down by 36% compared to the previous year. As you already heard, the output and sales of zinc metal were slightly higher than the previous year, so this drop in sales is purely a function of the LME zinc price. Our gross profit was negative, and it's due to impairment loss of property, plant, and equipment in Akjal, and we have to follow the IFRS thoroughly, and we included this impairment into the gross profit. In terms of EBITDA, we were at the zero level compared to 24% in 2007, and our net income was 3.5 billion rubles of loss. The next slide, number 26, shows these key figures which largely affect our top line and bottom line. LME zinc price went down from $3,250 per ton to $1,870. That is 42.5% down. And that price went down by 20%. At the same time, there was almost no change in ruble dollar rate and tenge dollar rate if we compare the annual averages. On slide 27, we show our revenue structure by products. As usual, zinc is the biggest part of our sales. It went down by 29%, along with the total number. Lead concentrate went down even more by 62%. It reflects the fact that unfortunately, we sold most of our lead product in the second half of the year, so our average price for lead was much lower than annual average. The sales of our products, other products went up. Two factors mainly: full consolidation of rock metal compared with half consolidation in 2007, and higher price for the sulfuric acid. The market for this product was in 2008 much better than in 2007. If we look at slide number 28, we see that revenue structure by location actually reflects the same picture: 30% down in Russia, 33% down in Europe, and the 88% fall of Kazakhstan is due to the fact that in 2007 we kept selling our Akjal zinc concentrate within Kazakhstan, and naturally in 2008 we consumed all of this material in Chelyabinsk. And increase in sales to Asia and Africa, mostly due to the consolidation of Brock Metal, who have a lot of customers in these regions. On slide 29, our total cost of sales. It is more or less usual. If we compare it with previous years, the share of materials and consumables is falling. It used to be, remember, probably 75, 60 something. Now it's just 54 due to the fall of the zinc price and accordingly the fall of zinc concentrate price and its share in the cost structure. And accordingly all the other parts of the cost, staff, depreciation, repair and maintenance, and utilities went up. The only unusual thing here is others, which are 11% compared to 1% in 2007. There are two major things. It's inventory provision, and almost half of this 11 is cost of goods for resale. We purchased a significant quantity of zinc from state reserves and resold it with almost no margin just to maintain our control over the market. On slide 30, we show our performance by segments. Briefly, all three segments demonstrated zero EBITDA in 2008. The only thing that can look unusual on this slide is net income of 263 million rubles of Nova Zinc, and the operating profit was negative, as you can see. It's due to recalculation of the deferred tax obligations. As you probably know, the new tax code of Kazakh Republic decreases the corporate tax, profit tax from 30 to 20% in 2009 and even lower in 2010 and 11. On slide number 31, you can see our cost structure by segments. You can see the numbers, you can see the pie charts, and I would add that cash costs per ton of zinc Am I on the line?
Yeah.
Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Hello?
Excuse me for interrupting. Here is the event manager. So I just put on mute Sergey Moiseyev's line. I do apologize.
Can I continue? Hello?
Please go ahead. Sergey Moiseyev back.
Go ahead. Okay, on slide 31, you can see our cost structure by segments, you can see the numbers, and I would like to add that cash costs per ton of zinc were $2,064 in Chelyabinsk zinc plant and $886 per ton of zinc in concentrate at Nova Zinc. And I foresee the questions in regards of the first quarter of the current year. Roughly, the cash costs per ton of zinc in Chelyabinsk were $1,360, $1,380 per ton in Chelyabinsk, and $490 per ton of zinc in concentrate in Nova Zinc. So the numbers of cash costs per ton in 2008, they just illustrate the previous slide showing zero EBITDA both in Chelyabinsk and in Nova Zinc. If we go to slide 32, we see the structure of costs and BROC. As always, the major part of their cost is zinc and aluminium they purchase. Materials, consumables, and all others are just a minor part of the cost of BROC. And BROC metal standalone is also, in terms of EBITDA, about zero in 2008 and keeps staying somewhere there in the first quarter of 2009. On slide 33, we see that our total assets and shareholders' equity went down, mainly due to impairment of goodwill in Akjal, impairment of mining property, and write-off of Akjal exploration and evaluation costs. Our total debt along with net debt went down according to the schedule of our repayments to our lenders, and at the same time, we naturally failed to meet our covenants linked with EBITDA because EBITDA was zero. And we applied to the bankers for the waivers, but we didn't receive those waivers. That's why we have shown all our debt as short-term. At the same time, the bankers don't announce default, they don't accelerate the loan. Moreover, they agreed with our request to decrease the repayments in 2009 by 50%, and we are paying according to this renegotiated schedule, and we foresee no problems in repaying our debt. On slide 34, we show that despite these huge losses, our net cash from operating activities was even more than in 2007, and almost all this cash was used in investing in our financing activities. It's probably better shown on the next slide, number 35. You can see that our profit before tax was minus 4.5 billion, but if we return the adjustments for depreciation and all other non-cash things, we can see that our cash generated from operations was more than 2 billion, and net increase in cash was 89 million rubles. CapEx, we managed to complete our sulfuric acid unit number 4. We completed our exploration and evaluation of Amursky, and we did some investment in Akjal, and we almost stopped all the investments in the fourth quarter of the previous year, and we foresee no much investments in the current year. That's basically all. Thank you, and as always, we are ready to answer your questions.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, your question and answer session will now begin. If you wish to ask a question, please press star then 1 on your telephone, record your name, and then press hash key. If you then decide to withdraw your question, simply press star 2. All questions will be answered in the order received, and you will be advised when to ask your question. All other lines will remain on listen only. Just to remind you, for any questions, comments, or feedback, please press star then 1 on your telephone, record your name, and then press hash key. We have a first question, and the question comes from
Kirill Chuiko, Kit Finance.
Please go ahead.
Hello. Thank you for the conference call. I've got a couple of questions on your costs. Based on the presentation on the slide where you showed your cash costs per ton of zinc produced, basically smelting cash costs. In the third quarter, your cash costs were approximately $1,000 per ton of zinc. Processing cash costs. In fourth quarter, they rose by 50% to 1,500. Could you specify the reason, and if the reason is the repurchases, the resale of state reserves, can you give us the number of physical resale volumes in the third quarter and in the fourth quarter last year?
Thank you for question, Kirill, but actually I can't see where your numbers come from.
The numbers are just my calculation. I can provide you later, but basically the figures are, I'm pretty sure on those figures.
Can you repeat them, please?
The figures are the smelting cash costs in the third quarter were nearly $1,000 per ton of zinc, and in the fourth quarter they rose to nearly $1,500 of zinc in the fourth quarter only. So basically 50% growth.
No, it's something that cannot be real. Maybe it's a question of calculation. Let's discuss it later, because our costs, according to my calculation, our cash costs per ton of zinc were on the level of something like 1,750, including the raw material, and conversion costs in the fourth quarter were something like $800 per ton of zinc.
Okay, no problem, because my calculations are basically based on the fact that for the 9 months, 08 cash costs in ruble terms, they were 22,000 rubles per ton. In the full year, they reached 26. So basically, in order to cash costs to go from 22 to 26, the fourth quarter should be very, very bad. but we can come back to that later. And another question is maybe can you provide a breakdown in your fixed and variable cost in the fourth quarter?
Yes, sure.
In the percentage terms.
Well, I'd say that our costs in the fourth quarter didn't differ materially from the whole year. It was 370 if we speak about variable costs and 460 if we speak about fixed plus selling general and administrative.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your question. We have a next question from.
Irina Lokshina.
Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you very much for the presentation. Just have a few questions and I will ask them one by one. The first question is about your break-even point. Could you say at what price under current FX rate do you break even? Or maybe could you give us an example of how it depends on your capacity utilization rate?
Good evening, Irina, and thank you for the question. Our break-even point, of course, depends on many factors: ruble dollar rate and gas dollar rate, then the composition of raw materials and many others, electricity tariff and so on. Roughly, on the current circumstances and the current ruble dollar rate, our break-even point is between $1,350 and $1,400 per ton of zinc in Chelyabinsk zinc plant, and about $1,050 at Novozinc.
Thank you very much. And my next question is about the breakdown of your cash costs. What part of them are ruble denominated?
In Chelyabinsk, if we forget about raw material, which is fully dollar nominated, 80% of all the other costs, or 85%, are rubles.
Ruble denominated. Okay, and I also have a question on the recent rumors about the sale of the company, actually spread by Vedomosti. Maybe you can say us, are you in any talks with anyone on the potential sale of the company, or maybe any comment on this or that?
We will not comment on that, Irina.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. And one more question is about Agile. Based on your first quarter 2009 operation results, it seems to us that you have decreased internal supplies of zinc concentrate from Agile. Is it right or not? And if yes, what was the reason?
No, there is no reason we did not decrease it. It's just some logistics. Maybe. Yeah, some concentrate which did not arrive in March arrived in the beginning of April, nothing more.
Okay, thank you very much. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you for your question. We have a next question, and the question comes from.
Николай Сосновский.
Please go ahead.
Добрый день. It's Nikolai Sosnovsky, Ural Seed Capital. I just wanted to ask about your short-term borrowings. So, according to the latest balance sheet published, 2 billion in short-term debt. Please, could you specify the new amount of short-term borrowings you need to pay off this year according to this new agreement with banks? Thanks.
Well, as I said, we reclassified our long-term borrowings to short-term according to IFRS requirements. Actually, we didn't originate any new debt, and we decreased our debt according to the schedule. So this 2 billion of debt is roughly 50-50 to banks VTB France and HVB, Unicredit Group, Germany. That's basically it.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, just to remind you, for any questions, comments, or feedback, please press star then 1 on your telephone, record your name, and then press hash key. Seems to be no questions at this stage. Just a reminder, ladies and gentlemen, for any questions, comments, or feedback, please press star then 1 on your telephone, record your name, and then press hash key.
Well, if there are no further questions, we would like to thank everyone for this conference call, and we always welcome your questions to our IR department. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes your conference call for today. You may now disconnect. Thank you for your joining, and have a very good day.